Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on Saturday, July 20th, 2024. Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, east of the Rockies, west of the Atlantic. My name's Brian Engelman, and this is the Agree to Disagree show on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Speaking of failing me, let me switch the audio from my internal microphone over to my Blue Ball podcasting mic. Hopefully, the sound quality of that will be fantastic. On today's program, I'm going to unpack, literally and figuratively, you can see right here. This is the new rig that we have. All sorts of camera equipment, all sorts of stuff. Coming back from Milwaukee, the first time I have ever attended Milwaukee for the Republican convention this year. And so now that I've unpacked most of my bags, we are going to try to unpack the news for you today. But first, I want to give an overall, just the vibe, the feeling of Milwaukee. What was it all about? Well, here's what it was about. There was a lot of gratitude from people who realized just how close America came to complete chaos. President Trump, as you know, the assassination attempt last week, even 1 week later, now it's another Saturday, and we're kind of remembering, what were we doing last Saturday? Oh, yeah. And then you see Trump's having another rally today, and he's going to be with his vice presidential candidate. That's something new, obviously, of the past couple days. J.D. Vance is the man who is first in succession for President Trump now. I've been saying for a while, wouldn't it be great if he could pick his team? Go ahead and identify who else is going to be a part of the Trump administration to carry MAGA forward in case something were to happen. So we have one name now. I mean, that's good. That's nice. But that being said, I would like to see President Trump announce his entire candidate. I'm sorry, his entire cabinet. I think I said candidate there. We'll see in the days and weeks ahead who President Trump announces will be part of his team. I think it's very important. I think this would be incredibly crucial because the only thing that the deep state has left is another. Okay, we've known about the cyber attacks. We're going to get to that in a second with CrowdStrike. We've known about war. Yeah, we're aware of Gaza and Ukraine. Keep your eyes on China as well. Venezuela. We're aware of an impending financial crash. I don't like this, but it feels inevitable, which is strange. Hello to Kenneth, by the way, saying the dynamic Trump team. Yes, the dynamic Trump team. Kenneth, I don't know why your comments are not being displayed on our screen. This is the second show where this has occurred. I don't understand what's happening. So I could close the chat overlay and bring it back. Maybe that'll bring Kenneth back. I don't know. But for some reason, they don't want us talking to Kenneth. But I'm going to read his comments as I can off of the YouTube channel. If you're not following us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/The New American Media. Follow us, subscribe to us there, and on Rumble, The New American Media, and Odyssey, The New American Media. Those three channels, I guess in conjunction with Spotify, and our show is the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify. Subscribe and link up with us in all of those places because we're putting up the videos now from the convention. We did post a video with Jim Hoft, who runs the Gateway Pundit. That was a really interesting conversation we had at a very interesting bar and restaurant called this. What was it called? The Safe House? Is that what it's called? The Safe House. I'm actually going to look real quick, make sure I have that right. But we posted that video as I found it to be very interesting. I know the Gateway Pundit has been breaking a lot of news in the past 4 years. I guess it's not the Safe House. It's called Safe House. Really neat place. The brisket sandwich was good. The local beers were good. In that location, it was kind of a mix between Hollywood's Magic Castle and a place I went in LA. It was the Stinking Rose. All sorts of little rooms and hidden areas and just interesting stuff to see everywhere you look. They even had a magician at the downstairs or at the upstairs bar doing tricks. We recorded it, and I still don't understand what I saw. Some of these tricks are just mind-blowing. So that video's up. We want you all to watch it. Also, we just put up an interview with Gerald A. Morgan Jr. He is the CEO of Louder with Crowder. And we got to catch up with him on the final day of the convention. And we kind of broke it down, what the failed assassination attempt means, kind of summing up his experience at the RNC and whatnot. So those videos coming out, including another interview we had with Scott Pressler, one of the leading voices about getting people registered to vote, knocking on doors, getting a turnout the vote effort, and trying to really modernize. I know Charlie Kirk has been doing some stuff like that, but trying to modernize the way that Republicans approach elections. That video will be on its way, I believe. I shared a video. Blake Walley, special thanks to Blake Walley, correspondent on the scene with us there. Normally our regular co-host on Tuesday and Thursdays episodes of the Agree to Disagree show. But when I grabbed the video off of his hard drive, because he filmed it and I was presenting the segment, I only got an 11-second video of him getting a picture, a selfie with a kind lady. And it dawned on me, I only spent maybe a half hour with Scott Pressler, but he instantly had the same thing, the it factor. He had the same thing that Anomaly has. Every time I'm around AJ, and we've done events at Conscious Life Expo, Politicon. I think we missed each other at Politicon, but I helped get him press passes. Politicon, the NAMM music conventions. We've had sit down interviews and whatnot. But when I'm around with Anomaly, you can't go 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes without somebody stopping. Say, oh, hey, oh, how's it going? I told that to Scott, and I'm like, well, you're both tall humans with long dark hair. There must be something. Must be that Jesus component. Something about, I don't know. Was Jesus tall? That's a question I don't have an answer to. I don't know that I've ever heard it discussed. I guess that's how irrelevant height is. Okay, make that our question of the day. Is there a consensus on how tall Jesus was? And to all you that think he wasn't real, then fine. Go ahead, type that. I'm pretty sure he's the most well-documented human being who did actually exist and walk this planet in human history. But go ahead. He didn't exist. So question of the day. How tall was he? Yeah, Kenneth, I don't know why. He's saying YouTube don't like me? I don't know. Okay, Kenneth, let me ask you this. Would you start another YouTube channel and see if you're able to comment on that one? I got to grab my charger. It's so interesting to hear all of the shenanigans that are occurring with social media sites, with censorship, with glitches. Why in the world can Kenneth not comment anymore when he's commented on every show we've done? We like cool Kenneth. He's always cracking jokes and giving me a reason to kind of find segues and, lower the temperature a little bit because we're living in chaotic times, right? I mean, they tried to kill the damn president on TV. And one of the questions that's coming out is, was CNN only there to witness something catastrophic? Remember when CNN happened to be the first one on the spot to get the Roger Stone raid. Remember, the Biden Obama deep state Democrat nitwits. They're raiding Roger Stone. They're raiding Mar-a-Lago. They're going after nonviolent January 6th protesters. There is nothing beneath these people. Vermin. So I have questions about that. We also have questions about how many shooters were at that event. I would love to know. Also, something I'd love to know. Since we have many viewers watching us live on X, why are none of them showing up on our Restream studio? Okay, I don't know. A micro Jesus, a mini Jesus. What was that in Talladega Nights? I pray to dear Lord, baby Jesus, 3 pound, 6 ounce baby Jesus. He was a man. He had a beard. He's praying to baby Jesus. All right, we're going to do a quick one today. So I think the best way to do this is to pull up our X account, and we're going to work our way backward together, everybody. Follow us on X. We are at American_media_. That's at American_media_. We're going to go to our profile here. Yeah, it's so nice. Actually growing on this platform now. I haven't really... I just got so used to being shadow banned on YouTube. And we have some videos that are starting to get larger over on Rumble. It's so nice to have X and Rumble like the old YouTube. Like when you get a good interview with someone like, say, a John McAfee, and you get 130,000 views in a couple of hours, you're like, okay, good, we're onto something here. And then they zap it and make sure nobody else gets to see it forever and ever. Now it's like if you can clear... YouTube will let you be seen by a couple of people, but they will not let many people get to your content. So anyway, we're up here on the YouTube, I guess. Let me pull this up and work our way back through the stories. As I said, this is me sitting down with Gateway Pundit's Jim Hoft discussing election rigging, Trump assassination, their failed assassination, and J.D. Vance's selection. Look at how cool this place is. Safe house. It's all about the Cold War, Russia and the United States, and everything being secrets and spies. And that's what this awesome backdrop was for our conversation. Loved it. Okay, this was incredible. If you haven't seen this, make sure you go to our page and watch it. This was just reposted by Elon, and I'll just let this play briefly here, if you can see it on the screen. This is a Matrix revisited. This is Biden and who is it? Obama, maybe Zuckerberg's the other one in this video. And this is Trump stopping the bullets. You know, that was a grand theme of the convention. The convention, it was gratitude, it was divine intervention, and it was... Let me mute. Didn't ask for sound. There we go. There were a lot of people it was hard to envision a scenario where Trump survived without the hand of God playing a role. It was just almost statistically unlikely, impossible, really. So we did hear a lot of that. And what we also saw, I know a week ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Barron Trump came up and was recognized for the first time and kind of made a public appearance now as a young man. I believe he's 18 years old. We saw from Kai Trump, that's Don Jr.'s kid, and, you know, the grandkid of Trump, giving a powerful speech talking about, like, that's my grandpa. My grandpa's a great guy. And it really personalized and humanized the Donald Trump experience. That's exactly what you're supposed to do at a convention. Security was huge for this thing, as expected, and it's as appreciated. You know, residents said it's kind of like a ghost town, though, because so much was blocked off. And In comparison, Cleveland hit a home run. Milwaukee was okay. I've been to conventions all over the planet, mainly across the country here. Only across the country. No, I've been to one in Canada, but Cleveland was one of the best. I've been to conventions in Indianapolis, Austin, Nashville. Oh, Nashville was really good though too. Anaheim. Lots of conventions. And I'd say Cleveland and Nashville were the best. Anaheim has had a couple of winners and a couple of But it really is about you're at the event, but there's other stuff that should be happening around the city. There should be concerts and there should be other things to do. And we just didn't really catch wind of too much of that while we were in Milwaukee. But that aside, it was interesting seeing, like I said, Donald Trump's family speaking. And it's like, oh, there's now a third generation, grandpa, and then the kids, and now the kids starting to get involved. And you go, okay, well, we always make fun of this generation. I guess every previous generation makes fun of the current generation. But in this case, it gives you a little bit of hope, a little bit of feeling that maybe the next group coming up, they're willing to rise to the occasion. And I'm here for it. Now, President Trump's night, obviously, well, we got to see J.D. Vance first and foremost. That's the heir apparent as chosen by Trump, as he's allowed to do. Love it or hate it, that's his choice. Moving on. The night of Trump was just, what a rock star event. It was like a WWE. It had Kid Rock performing, Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off, and Donald freaking Trump giving the longest acceptance speech in American political history. Exactly. Be there. I have mixed thoughts on having another rally. Part of me is like, don't you ever have another rally again. What is wrong with you? And then another is like, Goodwill Hunting. I chose the wrench. I'm sorry. You're saying your dad would come home drunk and he'd beat you and he'd give you the option of like I forget the exact line. He said a switch off of a tree. Here on this video. Gonna kind of do like a extended lightning round because our time is short here. So I'm gonna kind of just jam pack this with all the most interesting information that we have scoured the interwebs with. Just something interesting. This guy's super excited with that AI thing of the Matrix, Donald Trump avoiding the deep state taking him out. And he's like, Elon just quote reposted you, bro. Just a quick thought was we're all in this together. Although people like Elon Musk and a couple hundred others have mega reach, there are hundreds of millions of digital soldiers worldwide who are fighting to save humanity. We repeat, we're all in this together. Keep up the great work, everyone. We are winning. We are winning. Dare I say we've already won, but we have won. And we will win. All right. So there it is. That's our post on the YouTube channel, our interview with Gerald A. Morgan Jr. Great times, great people. Enjoyed talking to the rest of their crew as well, including Eric and the team. This is pretty hilarious, doing the deep dive. Kamala. This says the reason why Hulk Hogan was speaking at the RNC is because he already knows how to beat Kamala. Okay, that's pretty funny. This is from the Quartering. Says first Trump defeated Hillary in 2016. Then he ended her kill streak in 2024. Wow. Allegedly. Wow. Okay, that's powerful. Yeah, YouTube, F YouTube. Speaking of the Crowder crew, I believe they have that line, what they say at the end of every episode. We're going to continue on Rumble, so follow us over there. And if you're still watching us on YouTube, piss off. Because YouTube is such trash. I mean, the same video that gets 1,000 likes on Rumble gets you 40 on YouTube. By the way, for comparison, we have 70-something subscribers, followers, whatever they call it, on Rumble. We've got like 6,500 subscribers, millions of views on YouTube, but they will not let people see our content. They try to pretend like they're a platform, but they act like a publisher. Lord willing, there's going to be legislation that stops this stuff. Because that is the public square, and silencing our voices is unacceptable. Carrie put this out here on X. Yeah, controlled tube. Says, the same CNN that got to Roger Stone. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a reaction. Hang on. I got to go back one to read you this. There we are. I wish it was a little easier to see the chain of conversation here. But this is one of the most interesting topics that I need some fact checking done on. I'm seeing some people. I know Brian Cates posts a lot of interesting things that are, timely, relevant, and factual. I'm not entirely certain about this one, so I'm asking for your help. Is it true that out of all the rallies Trump held in the last year, CNN decided to carry exactly one of them live? Saturday, July 13, 2024 in Butler, Pennsylvania. Interestingly enough, as the shooter, whoever that was, began firing, a New York Times photographer was in prime position to catch Trump's head exploding with a camera set to the unusual setting of 1/8,030 frames per second, which you would only use if you expected to be shooting something happening in a millisecond. Turns out you can actually see a bullet in flight at those settings. Isn't that amazing? Grok here, at least according to this post, and I'm not entirely certain that's accurate, it says CNN has only live streamed one Trump rally this year, and wouldn't you know, it happened to be on July 13. Coincidence? I think not. So I don't know if that's accurate. We'll dig in a little bit. But okay, so quick points here. One, I spoke with a few videographers and photographers kind of explaining this frames per second thing. They weren't having any of it. They're like, no, that's not true. Now, in video, it's different. Still photography, it wouldn't have applied here. So they were less than impressed, but the jury's still out. I'm not taking 3 photographers' opinions on it. But there are people I respect or / recently got to know and pseudo trust and saw the quality of their work. I think they know what they're talking about. But I'm willing to keep digging in on this. Do you know anything more? Can you put in the comments about the frame per second settings and the New York Times photographer? I want to drill down on that. Also, really need to know, was this the only time CNN live streamed? Because they're hoping to get a snuff film. Very important questions that I'm not entirely certain I have the answer to, but Carrie says, oh, do you mean the same CNN that got to the Roger Stone arrest 30 minutes before it happened? You mean that CNN? So we're asking, so CNN is an arm of the deep state? Well, I mean, all you had to do was watch since 2020, 2019, and you know damn well that's exactly what's happening. Now, this was interesting. Interesting post. I'm not entirely certain about Doug Mills, but this foundering is saying Doug Mills, who took the 1 in a million bullet picture, you can see it right there. Let me talk about this bullet picture real quick, regardless of, was it Doug Mills that shot it? What was the frame rate? What do you see about that? It took me days trying to process just how close we got to cataclysm, pure catastrophe, to understand that this bullet is horizontal. If it were coming down from a roof, there would be a slope. Wouldn't it be coming downward? This is almost exactly left to right. Just kind of expected to see more of a downward trajectory if you're up on a rooftop, and or, as many people have been reporting, up on the watchtower, up on the water tower, rather. Audio reports have been filed, and people are claiming there's at least 2 shooters and the counter sniper. People live on the scene have given reports saying that they saw people up at the water tower, and they saw there's a video of cops, allegedly cops, running toward the water tower, and people saying, what are they doing? What's going on over there? What's happening? Many unanswered questions 1 week later. You got the head of the Secret Service saying, oh, well, we didn't put anybody up there because it's slightly sloped. Are you out of your mind? It's 130 yards away. That's a football field away. That's the easiest shot, unobstructed. So lots of unanswered questions. So for me, Doug Mills, did he really take these two 1 in a million pictures? Just so happened to be on hand to catch the iconic moment Bush learned about 9/11. So I want to fact check there, but I saw that, shared it, and we put our own question. Hold on. The same photographer caught both of these events, question mark. Help me understand in the comments. Yes, we the people have had snuff. But really, they wanted a damn snuff film. They wanted they wanted his head to explode on live T. These people are monsters. Continuing on here. Okay, so there's a California law that Elon is chiming in on. Wait, why is this post unavailable? Barry Weiss is saying that California's new law is letting schools keep secrets from parents. That is demonic. That is abhorrent. That is maybe the final straw that's needed to pull kids out of the public school indoctrination camps immediately. The dollars that are attributed to the children should be then allowed to be transferred. This should be a nationwide policy to start some homeschooling that doesn't include keeping any secrets from your parents. The kids belong to the parents, not the state. You've got it backwards. So Elon says the California law should be repealed. I believe they're specifically talking about trans situations where a kid who hasn't gone through puberty is perhaps being influenced or persuaded by social media or creepy teachers grooming, might try to confuse a kid into radical, life-altering surgical decisions or hormonal decisions that will leave them impotent, forever requiring lots of maintenance to clean out areas. And now that you've messed with the plumbing of the individual, people that can never ejaculate and feel that pleasure, that relief, people that could never procreate and continue their bloodline, really pushing this stuff and trying to keep it secret from the parents. That's what California wants. That's what Democrats want. That's what Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden, that's what these people are doing. If you go through your puberty and you still feel like you're feeling a certain type of way, you're more than welcome at 18 to get the thing that you want to have done, provided you pay for it yourself. But to confuse kids and let them make life-altering decisions, you can't smoke cigarettes, you can't drink beer, you can't fire a gun, you can't see an R-rated movie, you can't get a face tattoo, but you can chop your privates off. That's just not something that is remotely believable in America, but here we are. So that's exactly why this election is so important. It really is the future of humanity here. There's also a NASA Viper mission. Apparently, the hardware was already built and the launch was paid for, but they canceled it to save a few million on labor. $450 million was spent, but we'll spend 200 times that on a proxy war fighting in Ukraine. Clowns in charge of America. NASA is spending nearly 2 times its cost to cancel it? Look, I'm unpacking this, but what in the world is going on? Viper rover exploring the lunar surface. Huh. Could there be money laundering going on at NASA? By the way, I have a deep affinity for NASA, as my grandfather worked there. However, this is really disappointing. Anyway, moving along, this is another report from Paul Joseph Watson, kind of the breaking news, not to bury the lead, but Wall Street Journal is saying that, quote, the gunman who tried to kill Donald Trump was able to fly a drone and get aerial footage of the Western Pennsylvania Fairgrounds shortly before the former president was set to speak there. And there you were thinking it couldn't get any worse. How do you seed the skies? Was anybody clocked in and working that day a week ago? Was this really just pure incompetence and lack of attention to detail, and none of the people involved actually care about protecting their target, protecting the people at that event? That's the reality we're supposed to expect. I'm sorry, that we're supposed to accept. Second, slightly similar sounding word that I have mixed up today. It's been a long week, folks. A lot of travel. A lot of early mornings, a lot of late nights, a lot of video editing. But it's all good. Yeah, you don't give up air superiority. You need people up in the skies making sure nobody else is. Were there any adults in charge that day? So many unanswered questions. There's no way you should be allowed to fly a drone at a political rally like that. No way. The drone warfare in Ukraine is perhaps one of the most effective uses of military products in orchestrating and instituting the warfare plan over there. It does not take much for a drone to drop a payload or do other various things. I don't even want to start speaking these into existence, but my God, if we don't have aerial superiority, what do we have? Also thinking, now that I'm thinking about other attacks, does the president have a pod underneath that stage where you could drop him down into I've seen these, they're like tornado shelters. You dig them up in your garage, for example, and you go down and it allows you to get into the geothermal and it gives you a place to survive in case things go cataclysmic. Of course, that becomes your tomb if nobody knows you're there. So I have questions about that product, but I want like a false door underneath the president. You press the button, he drops down, and he's now in a tornado shelter that could survive impact, that could survive all sorts of stuff. So I think from now on, the president need to rethink the stage. There really should be a button, a trapdoor, a sealed cocoon, and then a way to vacate the sealed cocoon into the beast. I don't like just a regular stage. Also, I don't like a regular lectern. I've had this thought 1,000 times. It was like a narrow lectern. How about a wraparound lectern that's protected? Do some Pope bubble glass up where the teleprompters are. Obscure the shot. We need to start from scratch, which is why I don't know that the Secret Service is ready to get on the ball this week, today, at another rally, hence some of my concern. Going back to the speech, Donald Trump's speech, ending at 92 minutes, or an hour 32, is now the longest nomination acceptance speech in U.S. history, according to Raw's alerts. I'm going to play you this because, wow, my, how the turntable. Okay. By the way, I wish it was easier to get to the very beginning of an article or a video and press it without it skipping forward or playing sound when I'm not trying to get it to. So this is interesting. Well, I'll tell you my comments after you watch this clip. From Mark Zuckerberg, of all people. We are truly living in historic times.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And, on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
It's hard to not get emotional about that spirit in that fight. Yeah, coincidentally, I had the most wonderful cat, Halo, for a lot of years. Adopted him from a rescue shelter in Los Angeles to be a buddy to my other cat, Nimbus. And gorgeous white cat. Everyone that met him, loved water. Miss him dearly. He got sick and passed a year or two ago. But I always called him the firefighter. Number one, because he loved water, so the opposite of fire is water, and that's just kind of like, you feel like that's his element. But I called him the firefighter because over the course of living in Los Angeles, we had to trap, neuter, and return roughly 135 cats. And because I was on a homeowner association, we had 25 buildings, 216 units, and underneath them, those little access panel screen meshes were kicked out or moved by a cable company wiring something, and then they'd never put them back up. One mama cat gets under, and now you got 10 cats, and it turns into a big situation. So we spent time helping them, and I guess spayed cats live longer and they're healthier, according to at least what I was told, and it would stop the multiplication there, so you could have a feral cat community of non-breeders that would keep the breeders away because they were territorial. So in the course of living there, I had many stray cats, foster cats in my little condo, my little 2-bedroom place there in LA. Halo was there second with Nimbus, and new faces would show up. And you put cats together, and it was a small condo, as you will find in Los Angeles. And there would be scuffles, kerfuffles, scuffles and kerfuffles. That sounds like a book title. Scuffles and kerfuffles. Someone remind me, I got to do something with that. No, I actually really like that phrase. It's really weird. So I'm going to write it down. All right, another question of the day. What could scuffles and kerfuffles mean? Could that be a band name? Could that be a book title? Scuffles and kerfuffles. It's not easy to say, but it's interesting. But when a kerfuffle would break out, Halo would jump down from the bathroom sink. He loved to lay at the bathroom sink because every time you went in, he knew that he would get fresh water, and he would just pour it on his head. He'd drink it. He'd just sit by it. He just loved running water, and that was his space. And it was cool on that granite countertop. So even if it was warm in the Los Angeles, that was a cool spot for him. So he loved it. But you'd hear him, pum. He would jump down, and he was built. This guy was just normal sized cat, but he was so muscular. So when he jumped, you pop, you would bum. You'd feel it, and he would charge right into down the hallway, into the living room, into the kitchen, into the bedroom, wherever a fight was happening, he would run right into it. What's going on? What's happening here? And that's what firefighters do. And it's just kind of got me thinking, that what leaders do is you stand up, you rise to the occasion. Oh, you took a shot at me? Fight. Play this one more time, because I did not expect to ever hear Zuckerberg say something like this.
Like over the weekend, and I mean, on a personal note, it's seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But
one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. Then you got Hulk Hogan saying, "Look, I've tried to stay non-political, but I watched my president get shot, and I'm not having that." Rips off his shirt, go Trump. Kid Rock, American Badass, sampling that sad but true riff from Metallica. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da. Just at the RNC, American Badass. Dana White, too. Stopped his vacation, flew across the world to get here. Badass. Badass energy, firefighter energy. There's a problem? Fine. I'm 78 years old, got a gorgeous wife. How are your families, by the way? Let me just ask, how is your family? How is your interaction with your family? How do you get along with your family? I mean, like all of them? These people seem to love Trump. These people seem smart, sharp, respectful, talented, capable, articulate. They love him as a badass. Trump doesn't need this stuff. He doesn't need this in his life, but it's like the boat's going down. Can somebody help? All right, fine. They say I make the best boats. And actually, he did make a joke about getting Wisconsin some really nice boats and then changing the design to make them better. And he says, "I'm buying your vote. I've tried to buy your vote. I gave you something. Give me your vote." It was funny. Great point, Kenneth. That almost sounds like an endorsement from Zuckerberg. He stopped short of it, but anyway, our comments on that one were Zuck went from promoting completely unsecure. Oh, hang on. Before my thought, I want to connect Halo to the Trump to the firefighter because, coincidentally, unfortunately, tragically, it was the firefighter that got taken out while he dove on his family to protect them. Don't know if those shots came from the water tower, if they came from the roof, or yet a third location. I don't know. And there's the obvious comparison of you randomly shoot into a crowd at a Trump rally and you find a real American hero. Not Hulk Hogan, the real American hero, but a real firefighter hero. People who charge into trouble and try to help it. And that's what President Trump is. That's who he is. And it's just so odd that the stray hits a firefighter. Whereas Rittenhouse, for example, people are burning the place he works down. He lives outside of Kenosha. He works there, and he's there trying to protect some businesses, and he gets attacked by a couple of monsters, all with criminal rap sheets, pedo action. He shoots to defend himself, and he hits monsters. Monsters shoot at Trump and hits heroes. We are not the same. It's just the contrast is stark and stunning. But our comments on Zuckerberg, back to this, says he went from promoting completely unsecured drop boxes. But I think he put in $450 million. It was drop boxes, completely unsecured drop boxes. These aren't individually scanned with a retinal scan, and you have to put a thumbprint in to take it. No, just here's stacks. Just shovel stacks in. I don't know exactly which method of cheating was most effective in 2020, but I know the Democrats tried all of it. And you can go to cisa.gov/rumor control if you want to hear them tell you that it was the most free and fair election in American history. By the way, Joe Biden and his 81 million totally legitimate actual votes, he's so unpopular, they're trying to replace him with somebody even less popular. And I love that they're stuck in quicksand. They're so addicted to diversity, equity, inclusion, this DEI nonsense, that there's a large train of thought saying that they could not replace Kamala, even though she's terrible, because she's next in line, and the optics of replacing a black woman would just be too much to handle. For them, I've never cared about this stuff. Zero. I care about qualifications and competence. I don't instantly look at somebody or interact with somebody and have a presupposed idea of what's about to happen. I can usually tell pretty quick if somebody's going to be cool or if they're not cool. I split people into cool or not cool, competent or incompetent. And Kamala is unkamalified. Anyway, Zuck went from promoting completely unsecured drop boxes, which led to this Biden Democrat train wreck, led to it, promoted it, was part of it, or definitely changed the outcome. Not entirely certain because nobody's looking. How many shooters were there? I don't know. The head of the Secret Service says, well, we couldn't put somebody up on the roof a football field away, clean shot, because, I don't know, there was a slightly sloped roof. I'm sorry. Now when you answer questions, you're going to lie? You think this is the first time the Secret Service has put somebody on a roof? By the way, water has to drain off a roof. They're all sloped. There are flat roofs. Yeah, I know. There's even a slight slope in most of those. Otherwise, how you get the water off. So when the Secret Service director comes out and says, hey, very first thing I want to let you know, the roof was sloped and it didn't feel safe. Okay. Oh, okay. So now that you're going to clear things up, you're going to lie to my face. Wow. This just got way more serious, and I still call for the interrogation of the Secret Service director immediately. Rounded up, charged with suspicion of attempted assassination, taken to Guantanamo Bay and interrogated. The buck stops with her. Let's find out what she knew and when she knew it. Oh, she might resign. Oh, Biden should have her resign. She should be arrested under suspicion of attempted murder and treason and taken to Guantanamo Bay for enhanced interrogation techniques. Agree or disagree? Another question of the day. Now, if I could finish the sentence without going on a sidebar, Zuck went from promoting completely unsecure drop boxes, which led to this Biden Democrat train wreck, to praising the badass actions of Donald John Trump following the survival of his assassination attempt. My, oh my, how things have changed. This might be the best thing. Speaking of Mug Club and Steven Crowder and Gerald A. Morgan Jr., this was shared with Mug Club. Check this out. So funny. It's that scene from Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm not fucking leaving.
MAGA bros reacting to Biden's
The show goes on.
Please, Joe, please.
This is my home. They're gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out of here.
That's so great. Shared by Dan Bongino, Secret Service. You know, he knows what's up on that regard. That's hilarious. Please, Joe, run, Joe. You did it, Joe. You answered the questions, Joe. You did it, Joe. We did it, Joe. How wacky does it get? Here we go. This is maybe there's a lot of posts of the day. This is why just please follow the New American Media on X at American_media_. By the way, seriously, Kenneth, how awesome that we were able to find a workaround to get you back in the chat. I'm so happy about that. Kenneth is like our third co-host. Kenneth is always there. He's like a producer in your area. Like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now back to this one. Eric Matheny with perhaps the quote of the day here. If you are accusing Donald Trump of faking his own assassination attempt, you should be liable for a $1.1 billion judgment based on the Alex Jones precedent. Okay? Mic drop. Mic drop. There is no justice when one side is hammered, one side is framed, one side is lawfared, one side is just demonized, destroyed, then the other side gets off scot-free and gets paid paydays for it. Gets away with murder, gets away with anything. There's no justice until you fix the fact that the Republicans are always prosecuted, Democrats get away with everything. This has got to stop. The major institutions of this country really do need an enema. The big blue cities need an enema. The Democrat Party needs to be splintered into 1,000 pieces and cast to the winds. They are traitors. They are dangers. They are lunatics. Not every one of them, but many. That party has lost your vote forever. They should never have your vote again. Babylon Bee showing just how some of these headlines that came out about Trump falls on stage, and it's like he got hit in the face and with a rifle round. Are you out of your mind? Babylon Bee. How CNN reported 7 famous assassinations throughout history. Lincoln nods off at play. Unbelievable. Steve Ferguson asking a very good question. Why did the FBI try to kick Senator Hawley off of the rally site in Butler, Pennsylvania? Yeah, dig around on that one, will you? Look at Josh Hawley. Thank you, Josh. Posobiec, by the way, shout out to Posobiec, as I did have the chance at the Bronx rally, the Bronx Trump rally, or the Trump rally in the Bronx. I think that's how I meant to say that. Got to report live on the scene for Real America's Voice Network. Got to do a segment or two with Posobiec, and then the next program, and they used several clips on Bannon's broadcast that night. Shortly before, Trump was shot. Shortly before, Bannon was arrested. Shortly before. It's just this whole election drama, this saga it's almost unbelievable that any of this is real life. Anyway, Posobiec here. Follow him. He's a good follow. Check out his shows. Says Rupert Murdoch was in an ornery mood. He was lashing out at event staff and spewing profanity. He doesn't like losing, and this was a huge loss for him. At one point, Don Jr.'s face appeared on the Jumbotron, and Rupert shook his fist and screamed something unintelligible. A source who witnessed Murdoch's tantrum said. By the way, let me just add this. If it's someone putting information out about Donald Trump, or if it's in this case, I don't really put much stock into a source who witnessed something says. I'll consider it. I'll let it flow past my desk, and just on a grander scheme of things, you see the Paul Ryans and the Fox Newses just completely anti-Trump, pro-deep state. Chris Wallace out there during the Trump debate lying about the Fine People hoax, running interference with the 51 intelligence officials, complete lie to stage a coup and overthrow President Trump. They were in on it. Fox is in on it. You got to get away from Fox. They got a couple of good programs, a couple of good people making content there, but at the top, they are anti-Trump, they're anti-MAGA, they're pro-Democrat, they're pro-deep state. How are they pro-Democrat? Well, they got rid of Tucker Carlson and they've thrown Trump under the bus. So I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make you technically pro-Democrat, but they're definitely pro-deep state. Basically tanking your own defense at the trial. What was that, Dominion? Saying that your people didn't actually believe the stories they were reporting. Because you have blanket coverage. If you believe the thing that you're saying, the defense to slander or libel is that you actually believe that what you thought you were reporting was accurate. No, but Fox made a huge settlement to make sure people were scared to question voting systems. We're going to get to that in a second with the CrowdStrike situation, but it's all, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not posting what Posobiec put here because I believe it to be 100% true, although directionally I do think it's true. This is another one. Source just sent me this photo of Lindsey Graham and Rupert Murdoch looking completely devastated during J.D. Vance's acceptance speech, as if they're at their own funeral. Now, you know, that's projection. That's us trying to get inside the heads of these people. We don't know. But look at those faces. That's one morose-looking motherfucker. A morose-looking motherfucker. I believe that was Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, Rupert Murdoch has always hated President Trump. Sad. Moving on here. Oh, yeah, so here's Ali Girardi, allegedly working at this company as an accountant. You know. And so she posts this. It's worth noting. I'm so tired of him. I'm tired of people pretending about Trump. I'm so tired of him. I'm tired of people pretending he's not an idiot. I'm tired of his lies. I'm tired of his sickening amorality. I'm tired of his face, his voice, his smirk. I'm tired of his inability to say even one thing remotely kind or humble or appropriate ever. So tired. This Ali says it's a crying shame the assassin missed. These people hate you. And they've believed lying legacy media long enough to the point where it causes brain damage, Trump derangement syndrome. This was good. I'm not going to play it, but CNN tried to do a fact check on Representative Mike Waltz regarding the many failures of the Army climate strategy. And they're talking about not solar powered, but electric tanks. And they fact checked him, said that's not happening. And he just shot back. He's like, yeah, your fact checker need to maybe run a Google search for 2 minutes, 1 minute, and see that he's wrong. And I was accurate. So all these fact-checking things coming from the left, they're out of their minds. At least half of these things they're claiming are factually wrong. They're not. They're just not. It's just more lies. And if you're not willing to provide context, don't call it a lie. We're so over your fact checks, your phony fake checks, your fake fact checks. Sorry. Yeah, it's like when a social media puts missing context over a story, or like our fact checkers have deemed this to be false. You're like, oh, then this must be over the target then, because you guys are wrong about 97% of the things. Matt Couch says happy Saturday and posts a new Secret Service obstacle course, and it's all roof, like a dog park. Roof. I don't know if my cat's somewhere thinking invaders come in. Yeah, all roofs have slopes. Okay, I know there's some flat roofs, but you get my point. It drains the water off. That's the point. The Secret Service has all sorts of devices that you hook on and you fasten yourself in and you hang tight. You hang tight like someone working on scaffolding off of a bridge or washing windows outside of a building. You latch onto something safe. If you're on a sloped roof, then it gives your body support. It anchors you in. All you had to do was care about protecting Trump, and it would have never happened last week. This is something we have to understand here. This is about CrowdStrike in Ukraine. Of course, massive outages hit as the Republican convention was wrapping up. You know, Trump, I do humbly accept your nomination to be your party's candidate. Well, that was the final moment when it realized that you can't get rid of Trump that easy. And a huge outage, a huge situation. Now everybody's talking about voting machines. Are they connected to the internet? Why were they going down? Seeing stuff out of Arizona. We're trying to figure out the story here. If you find news stories that elaborate on anything we say today or that contradict anything we said today, please tag us, retweet us, start something fresh, tag at American_media_. The process of unveiling the news is an evolutionary process. Day to day, we get new information. I never want to keep telling you a lie ever. I'm just trying to get at the facts. That's it. But CrowdStrike in Ukraine. I'm not going to play all these, but please watch them. Video number 1, Trump says, I still ask the FBI, where's the server? How come the FBI never got the server from the DNC? Where's the server? I want to see the server. The server is, they say, held by a company whose private ownership individual is from Ukraine. Video 2, it's very interesting. They have the server from the DNC. The FBI went in and told them, get out of here. We're not giving it to you. They gave the server to CrowdStrike, or whatever it's called, which is a company owned by a very wealthy Ukrainian oligarch. Why did they give it to a Ukrainian company? CrowdStrike. And there's media panic and damage control. And then Director Comey, one of the biggest liars on planet Earth's history, were you given access to the forensic on those servers? He was asked, and he says, we were not. A highly respected private company got access and shared with us, the FBI, what they saw there. So in a nutshell, the DNC would not give access to the FBI for their servers or John Podesta's devices. By the way, if you want to go down a really dark and disturbing rabbit hole, look into John Podesta. It will change you. There is nothing worse that you will ever find from humanity. I encourage you not to, because unfortunately I did. It will change you. If 1% of what was on John Podesta's messages was accurate, it will ruin you and change you. Disclaimer, sidebar, rabbit hole. Moving on. They gave Podesta's devices and the DNC stuff to CrowdStrike, who did God knows what with it, cleaned it, wiped it. You mean like with a cloth? Bleach bit? You mean like you wiped a server? You mean like wiped a server with a cloth? Well, we couldn't have a sniper on the roof. There's a slight slope. Do these people not understand when they lie to us with the stupidest lies ever? All it does is prove their raging, throbbing guilt. You don't double down on stupid if there's a misconception. Anyway, details and puzzle pieces. CrowdStrike, at least according to this post, I'm not making the accusation. I'm just reading what other people are saying. CrowdStrike is the cyber firm that fabricated the entire claim that Russia hacked the DNC, which began Russiagate. They accused Julian Assange of working with Russia. Assange never revealed who his source was, but it's widely suspected and accepted that Seth Rich, by the way, go down the Seth Rich rabbit hole. It will change you. And it will help you realize that we all need to be firefighters right now. Don't just rely on Trump. There's that nefarious Q thing that goes around. It's like, oh no, there's a plan. Just trust a plan. Relax. Go back to sleep. I'm doing the creepy Biden whisper. There's a song called Pet by A Perfect Circle where Maynard James Keenan sings, go back to sleep. Swing into the rhythm of the new world order and go back to sleep. Yeah, whispering is creepy. Seth Rich was widely assumed to be the leaker, and they murdered him for it, allegedly. I don't think that needs an allegedly, but there you go. CrowdStrike was later discovered to be working for the Clinton campaign. 4 years later, CrowdStrike CEO admitted his contract was not with the DNC, but instead with Michael Sussman from Perkins Coie, retained by Sussman and Clinton. The entire Russiagate investigation started because the FBI relied on CrowdStrike rather than independently investigate their hacked DNC servers. Now, how did Trump know when all intel agencies claimed otherwise? Trump and the military absolutely 100% knew what was going on and exactly where those servers were. One, this is evident when Trump admitted to setting a trap for Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff by allowing them to go through with impeachment hoax number two. Number two, this is evidence when the Biden bribe tapes were leaked. Calls of Kerry, Biden, and Poroshenko. The globalist Democrats and rhinos panicked, tried to impeach him, released a worldwide virus, and now there's a war in Ukraine. Voila, narrative changed. Now, all those same globalists can't stop worshiping Ukraine because they're protecting their own interests and criminal activity. Let's not forget what happened in 2014 when the U.S. effectively ran a coup and a regime change. How the CIA, our U.S. government, and traitors, Obama, Biden, and Nuland, plus others, overthrew Ukraine's government in 2014. Nuland was caught on tape planning Ukraine's new government shortly after, for goodness sake. Let's not forget how they panicked when Trump was elected. Just after Trump was elected, McCain and Lindsey Graham went to Ukraine, desperately trying to get control of eastern Ukraine since Donald Trump was just elected. After their trip, Lindsey Graham, there we go. After the trip, McCain and Lindsey Graham come home and desperately try to blame, wait for it, who do they blame? Russia. Russia. Kenneth saying, you can't handle the roof. Josh Hawley to the Secret Service director, I want the truth. Secret Service director, you can't handle the roof. I mean, we can't handle the roof. Even though we're literally snipers and most of the positions we take place on are on top of roofs. Make it make sense. I'm living in a cuckoo clock and I would like to get out of here. I would like to change things so that life is fantastic. I'd love to get back to that. So, do you notice a pattern here? A lot of corruption leads back to Ukraine, the Clintons, and Obama and Biden. And this person would even argue the Bush family. It's not a coincidence that Julian Assange was recently released. CrowdStrike just had a worldwide outage. And they just tried to kill the man that's been sniffing them out since he came into office in 2016. They are panicking. They're fooked. Time is running out, and they know it. This is a report from MJ Truth Ultra, 290,000 followers roughly. So those are the thoughts of MJ Truth Ultra, and I would ask you, do you agree or disagree? Do you agree with all of that? Do you agree with some of that? If so, what do you disagree with? Because as I'm reading this, there's several things I'm not 100% certain of. But there's a lot that I am certain of inside of here, saying, well, if everything else that I'm reading that I'm aware of and I can make a yes or no determination of validity, if they're right about this, are they right about the others? So anyway, that's another interesting story there. I want you to check out. Go to an American_media_ to get more information. Winston Marshall reporting how strange it is hearing Roma chanting Allahu Akbar as the city's burning. Unchecked immigration, invasion, and the society will change. Lee Smith saying with the CrowdStrike blackout, evidence that every part of the DNC complex is a failure, from policy and politics to info and infrastructure. Maybe internal Democrat struggle will lead to something better, but right now, Obama's party is a threat to U.S. peace and prosperity across the board. Yes, I agree. Yes, I shared that. Joey Manarino saying somebody really needs to shut Joy Reid's show down. Does she even know what a racist pig she is? Now she's going on against Christian white men again? What business is it of yours how Orban runs his country? And what does white adjacent even mean? These people are obsessed with divisive racial politics. They must be starved out of office, starved of revenue, starved of donations, starved of respect, admiration, support. They are the worst. But here we are. Grand Rapids is the place where Donald Trump, President Trump, and J.D. Vance will be speaking. Yeah, Roseanne said this well, and I think I will wrap it up on this one. She says, it's amazing that the most popular ticket in American history, Joe Biden, of course, right? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, most popular ticket in American history, is considering stepping down both candidates for someone new just months before the next election. I mean, when you get more votes than any other ticket in the history of America, it would be kind of hard to start over 4 years later. If only there was a logical explanation as to how this is even possible. We all know that the election was the safest in history because the people who won told us. Oh, because the people who won told us that. So it's got to be something else. I'm guessing whoever steps in next will get the most votes ever. Even more with zero campaigning, because that is entirely possible. Thank you, Roseanne. God bless your sarcasm. And of course, this one here from Laura Loomer saying, did you know that the president of CrowdStrike Services and the chief security officer served as the executive assistant director of the FBI under Obama and Biden? Weird how CrowdStrike global outage happened during President Trump's nomination speech at the RNC convention. Meet Sean Henry. Sean Henry is a chief security officer and president of CrowdStrike Services, joining in 2012 after retiring from the FBI senior executive service. Prior to joining the private sector, Henry spent 24 years at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, where he held various operational and leadership roles, eventually becoming executive assistant director, overseeing half of the FBI's investigative operations, including all FBI criminal and cyber investigations worldwide, international operations, and the FBI's critical incident response to major investigations and disasters. He also managed national crime investigations spanning the globe and established a national cyber investigative joint task force. Why is every crisis in our country somehow tied to Barack Hussein Obama? All right. Now, that's according to Laura Loomer. I don't know about the validity of all of those claims, but it's something to look at. Joe Rogan, serious questions about the shooter. Were there more than one? Take a look. Yeah, and check out a show that we just did here. If you scroll down, this was kind of discussing the second shooter in more detail from a couple of days ago when I appeared on the Toxically Masculine Tuesday program with Mike Barra. Check him out. I believe it's Real News Live, but his show is Toxically Masculine Tuesday. Check that out. Blake Walley, who's normally with me for these shows, he does shows with them on Tuesdays. And I've joined a couple of them in the past week. We did a joint show the night of the President Trump survived his demonic assassination attempt. So yeah, I mean, we're all at the stage where we're all about cross-pollinating, create content together. Let's share it. We sent the video to Crowder's people. And I believe it was Eric. He said, hey, send me the thing. We took 2 other videos. We'll try to splice them together, make it a little bit more dynamic, and we'll send it out to people and try to get you some attention. So, yeah, look, like I said to Elon Musk, or the person that was like, hey, bro, your thing was just shared by Musk. My reply was, look, we are all in this together. I told Gerald A. Morgan Jr., I told him, at the very end of that video, I said, I really appreciate what Louder with Crowder, what you guys have been doing. I said, we're out in the forest and you guys have a machete and you've been hacking a pathway. You're very far down this path. You're very far down this trail now. I said, but you got millions of us following behind. It's not that we follow Crowder. It's not that we follow anyone. It's just they've made some headway fighting the big tech censorship, and it's helping all of us proceed. I wasn't creating a lot of original content in the past couple of years because YouTube, like I said, 1,000 views on a video over here on Rumble gets us 42 views on YouTube. 100 times the audience who are subscribed to me on YouTube, but they don't let anyone see that we crank content out. Huh. No monetization on YouTube. They make it very difficult to get back in. I mean, we had it for years. They just kind of took it away because they didn't like what we were reporting on. Seth Rich and John McAfee and Julian Assange and Reality and Facts. They didn't like it. But I did thank Gerald Morgan for his efforts, because there are a lot of us in the same boat. There are a lot of us walking down this path, and they've made it easier to walk. Every time Trump does something good, it makes it easier for us to walk. Every time Elon does something good, it makes all of us more likely to succeed. It makes the path wider, safer, better for all. All except the demons behind the scenes and a few are right out in front who just want to burn everything to the ground, steal everything for themselves, and they don't give a damn who they got to assassinate. From Seth Rich to Donald fucking Trump. They don't care who stands in their way. they will burn it all to the ground before they let you have a taste of the cake. Let them have cake. Excuse me, could I have some more? More? There is no more. The puppeteers of the deep state have had the reins of power for far too fucking long. Far too long. And if they weren't so stupid and greedy and abusive, I bet you most people would be, I don't even mind if there's some politicians that are crushing it financially. I don't even really mind some of these energy plays and some of the political persuasion used to help certain candidates like Lula overthrow Bolsonaro. But Bolsonaro's a good guy. Lula is not. Trump is the good guy. Biden is not. They back the wrong horse every fucking time. That's not accidental. There's a video from Mike Polk Jr., a Cleveland Browns fan, and he's yelling at the Browns stadium, famously. He calls it a factory of sadness. And he says, it is more statistically unlikely that you could be this consistently bad than it would be for you to occasionally accidentally be good. The probability is staggering. See you next Sunday. And that's how I feel about the Democrat deep state / Fox News Rhino deep state apparatus. They are panicked. They are losing. They hate you. And the most effective thing that Donald Trump ever said, and he's smart enough to say it every damn time he opens his mouth, because let's face it, every time he opens his mouth could be the last. He reminds us to refocus and recalibrate how we're thinking about this. They're not coming after me. They're coming after you. And I just happen to be standing in the way. So to paraphrase our founding fathers, we must hang together, or assuredly we will hang separately. With that note, I'm going to retire from this broadcast. I really appreciate you joining me on a special Saturday. I have plans to do live shows every single day now. We have a couple of months before the election, and every moment could be our last. I'm not leaving anything on the table. Like they say in a game of football or something, I keep going back to football because it was only a football field away that sniper was allowed to get a clear shot with nobody noticing or stopping. You leave it all on the field. If you can push a little harder, run a little faster, jump a little higher, give it everything you have right now. Give everything you have. Knock on doors. I talked to Scott Pressler about that. We'll probably put that video up, as soon as I can. You knock on the doors. Talk to people. Do everything that you can. Do more. And speak out while we're allowed to have the internet. You had some flight delays. You had some CrowdStrike issues. What about when the grid goes down? When the EMP hits and we can't communicate? Well, I'm going to say that I did shows every stinking day that I could. And we hope that you watch, and we hope that you share, and we hope that you contribute or donate if you feel so inclined, because there goes another $1,000 in expenses going to the RNC in Milwaukee. Same thing happened with the DNC. Actually, that was more expensive in DC and in the Bronx. You know, I don't get paychecks to do this. I spend my resources. I expend. So does Blake. Damn right Blake and I do. We're beyond pot committed to this thing because there isn't much of a country left if we don't. Blake says it all the time. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this either. I've always liked talking about current events, but my God, it's all hands on deck, people. This is game time. And they just shot our president. So don't think they're not going to go to any extreme length possible. From pandemic to EMP to nuclear war. These are monsters. And there's no hiding from them. The trick is they want you to be scared into saying, well, if I don't speak up, they're not going to take a shot at me. Well, if I'm not outspoken, I hope they don't try to shut my business down. I hope they don't try to debank me, deplatform me. I hope they don't get me fired from my job. I'm just trying to raise a family. I don't want to get sucked into this. You're already sucked into this. There's no escaping this. But if we all link arms and move forward together, there's no limit to what we can accomplish. So thank you for joining today. Follow the Agree to Disagree show and the New American Media in all of the places. More content coming soon. Thank you so much. I'm going to get back to an awesome Saturday. I hope you're having one. And if you haven't had a great Saturday, get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunlight. Try to calibrate, try to rebalance yourself, because we're sprinting. This is an all hands on deck approach between now and the election. I'm here for it. Are you? So thank you, everybody. I appreciate everyone watching, everyone commenting, everyone contributing, everyone supporting our work to be continued. I appreciate you. I love you.